LFA 113, Lewis versus Peterson, 7 fights on the entire fight card, 5 fights on the main card right here. The main event, Vernon Lewis and Thomas Peterson. We know the game plan of Thomas Peterson: take you down and just ground and pound the heck out of you and finish you with strikes from on top. Vernon Lewis, he's very explosive for a heavyweight. I've watched some of his film. He's going for flying knees, front kicks, head kicks. I really have no idea what this man is doing. He is he's very agile for a heavyweight fighter, which is very, very interesting. So right here, Vernon Lewis wants that fight to stay on the feet. Thomas Peterson wants that takedown and wants to ground and pound for the win. It's going to be a really, really good main event. All the other fights are also really, really good in the bantamweight division. Ricky Comp and then Greg Fisher right there. Really, really solid fight. Ricky Comp has amazing, amazing boxing, powerful right hand, right down the middle, and really good takedowns. Greg Fisher, more of a grappler. I believe he has 5 submissions and then 5 decision wins, so that should be a good co-main event right there. Haley Cowan is probably going to win that one. She has amazing wrestling and amazing, amazing grappling. Every single fight, immediately in the first 30 seconds, she's going for a double leg takedown, so Haley Cowan is probably going to win that one. We got a very, very 50-50 fight, in my opinion. Steve Jones and Chris Brown in the welterweight division. That fight is staying on the feet. Chris Brown, amazing, amazing. He's really, really good in the clinch, and at range, his kickboxing is really, really good. So that should be probably fight of the night right there with Steve Jones and Chris Brown. And then we have Alden Korea and then Donnie Baloo right there in the flyweight division. So overall, really, really good fight card. I'm really excited for the Ricky Comp fight in the co-main event. Of course, very, very excited for the main event with Thomas Peterson and Vernon Lewis. But the fight I'm most looking forward to is not really well known. I mean, not much people know Chris Brown or Steve Jones, but it's going to be fight of the night for sure. Every single time Chris Brown goes out there, he puts on a show. He has amazing kickboxing and really, really good Muay Thai skills. So really, really looking forward to that one right there. But we'll start looking at the first fight on the fight card in the flyweight division. Alden Korea and Donnie Baloo in the flyweight division. Alden Korea, absolute beast. So we already know exactly what the LFA is trying to do with Alden Korea. They're trying to build him up, get him really, really small steps up in competition every single time, and slowly build him up to a main event for an LFA fight card, and maybe have him fight for the flyweight belt a year or two from now. But they're giving him slow steps up in competition. But his last couple of wins inside the LFA have looked really, really good. His last fight, he showed amazing, amazing attacks with the leg kicks early on, with the body kicks, with the side kicks as well. His kicking game in that last fight with Rashad Robinson was very, very impressive, but eventually he did get the takedown and just he started going like this and eventually TKO'd him. I mean, his wrestling's really, really good. His ground and pound's amazing. His leg kicks are good. His striking is obviously really, really good. And in this fight with Donnie Baloo does not want anything to do with the striking with Alden Korea, especially because he is more of a grappler and wrestling type of guy. First round armbar submission win, first round Darce choke submission win, has a lot of, every single win is a first round submission win. His only losses are to other grapplers by first round submission, so every single loss is either a submission loss in the first round, and his wins are all first round submissions, which is, that is just absolutely insane, that every single loss and win is a first round submission. That's just crazy, but we know exactly what Donnie Baloo wants to do, get the fight down and get that submission. But Alden Korea has amazing, amazing wrestling. His striking is a lot better than Donnie Baloo. Of course, his grappling isn't as good as Donnie Baloo, but I think he can use that wrestling, keep the fight on the feet, use his amazing leg kicks, 1-2 combinations, his right hook, keep the fight on the feet, and possibly get another knockout win inside of the LFA right here. But my prediction is going to be the fight does go all the way. 94% saying a submission for Korea. I don't think so. He's fighting a submission guy in Donnie Baloo right here. There's no way you're going to be that confident in Alden Korea getting a submission. That's just not going to happen. If he's going to win, it'd probably be by a knockout when Donnie Baloo is coming in for a takedown. That'd be the best way for Alden Korea to get the win, but most likely, I think the fight is going to be going all the way. My prediction is going to be Alden Korea winning this fight by a 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 unanimous decision. The really solid takedown defense and much, much better striking, so he'll keep the fight on the feet and win the fight on the feet right there. So Alden Korea by unanimous decision right there. After that fight, I already said it before, this fight is going to be the fight of the night 100% in the welterweight division. Steve Jones and Chris Brown in the welterweight division right here. Steve Jones, in his last fight with Nikolai Veretennikov, It was an absolute banger. Chris Brown's last fight, let's see right here, with Kelvin Rayford was also an absolute banger. These guys, every single time they go out there, their fights are very, very good and very, very close fights as well. Stephen Jones has really, really good hooks. He's not really much of a straight puncher, has really good overhands, really good right hooks, left hooks, everything like that. But when you start to go for those big looping type of shots and try to get the knockout, which he does have 4 knockouts and 4 decisions, you're going to start to get really, really tired. I encourage all of you in the comment section below, watch Steve Jones' last fight with Nikola Veretennikov. He was gassed in that fight. He was absolutely gassed. His hands are a little bit lower once he does get gassed. So in the second and third round, I always see his hands go a little bit lower, and Chris Brown has amazing head kicks and a really, really good straight right hand right down the pipe. Chris Brown is more known for his kickboxing skills than anything. The grappling and wrestling, he's probably going to have a slight advantage over Steve Jones just because, neither fighter is really a grappler or a wrestler, but if I would give an advantage, maybe I'll go Chris Brown very, very slightly, but again, this fight is going to be staying on the feet 100%, so it comes down to who's going to win the fight on the feet. I think it's a very, very likely we see a knockout. 17% saying knockout. I actually do not agree with these Tapology predictions having 87% for Jones. I'm going to say it right now, my prediction for this fight with Steve Jones and Chris Brown is going to go towards Chris Brown. His last fight with Kelvin Rayford, his kickboxing, his front kicks, his body kicks, his head kicks, his spinning kicks to the body, all the kicks is what is going to get him the win here. Stephen Jones likes to stay right here and move forward slowly, kind of hunt you down and look for his hooks and try to knock you out. It's not going to work with Chris Brown. You're going to move right into a front kick to the face, a front kick to the body, a head kick, something like that. The kicks of Chris Brown are really going to do a lot of damage on Steve Jones, in my opinion, and that's why I'm going Chris Brown to win the fight. He's a little bit of a faster striker in terms of boxing, and his kickboxing is way, way better. In the clinch, he's also really, really good with knees to the body, knees to the head. He does this thing where he's in the clinch, he pulls out for a second and throws a left high kick right to the face. I don't know how he does that in the clinch, pulls out, and he's not even like a foot away from his opponent. He pulls back like that, and he lands a head kick. I have no idea how he does it, but his kicking game, his clinch game, is much, much better than Steve Jones. The main way Steve Jones is going to win would be with a right hook, a left hook. When Chris Brown is going for some front kick, maybe he catches the foot a little bit and then explodes with a big right hand or something like that. That'd be the best way Steve Jones could possibly win right here. But I think the kicking game of Chris Brown and the clinch game of Chris Brown are going to be what gets him the win right here. So my prediction is going to be the underdog on the Tapology predictions in Chris Brown winning the fight by a 29-28 unanimous decision, winning the second and third round after Steve Jones sort of kind of starts to gas a little bit in those later rounds. It should be a really, really good fight in the welterweight division right there. After that fight, we go into the bantamweight division. Haley Cowan and Emanuela Malier, if I'm saying the name correctly right there, in the bantamweight division. Emanuela Malier only has one professional MMA win by unanimous decision. Before that, got a submission win 5 years before that. Absolutely insane. Haley Cowan has an incredible 6-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage over Emanuela Malier right there. She has the wrestling advantage, she has the striking advantage, she has the grappling advantage. What more can I say? I don't know why. I kind of know why they're doing it. They're kind of just giving Haley Cowan a warm-up fight after her loss in her last fight to Kelly Clayton. But it's going to be a very, very easy win. Haley Cowan is going to go out there. She's going to grapple the heck out of Emanuela Malier right here. And she's going to grind upon her to death. She's going to just... It's either a TKO or submission win. Lots of people right here are saying that it's going to be a decision win, but fighting a girl that has not fought in 5 years and then got one win over a girl that's 0-1 as a professional and as an amateur fighter, I just don't see Emanuela Malier just doing anything in the fight. The striking of Haley Cowan is better, the grappling is better, the kickboxing is better, the wrestling is better, everything is better, so it's an easy prediction for me. Haley Cowan by ground upon TKO or by rear and naked choke submission in the very first round right there. Easy prediction right there. After that fight, we go into another bantamweight fight, this time in the co-main event. Ricky Camp and Greg Fisher in the bantamweight division. This fight is the co-main event for LFA 113, Lewis versus Peterson. it's a close fight in terms of like there is definitely some ways for Greg Fisher to win, and there are definitely a lot of ways for Ricky Camp to win. Either way, if Greg Fisher does win, I think it's going to be a dominant win. If Ricky Camp wins, I think it's going to be a dominant win. If Greg Fisher wins, it's going to be in the grappling and wrestling game. He needs to get the fight down. 5 of his wins are by submission, by guillotine, and by rear naked choke submission. Ricky Camp, a lot of his wins are by knockout. He does have a couple of submission wins here and there as well, but in my opinion, Ricky Camp is stronger than Greg Fisher, has better wrestling than Greg Fisher, but Greg Fisher has better grappling than Ricky Camp right there. So Greg Fisher's main way of winning would possibly get a takedown on Ricky Camp. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think if that does happen, I'll probably go Greg Fisher by a rear naked choke submission. Or maybe if Ricky Camp goes for a takedown on him, he does have a deadly guillotine choke submission from the bottom, so he can definitely use that in this fight as well. But in the striking game, I mean, if Ricky Camp just straight up keeps the fight on the feet for 3 straight rounds, I do think he's gonna win. He has a really good left hook to straight right hand right down the pipe. Very, very powerful and very fast striker as well. So Ricky Camp in the striking game is better. In the wrestling game, he is better. In the grappling game, Greg Fisher does have the advantage. So of course, a submission would be the main way Greg Fisher does get the win. But I think Ricky Camp, his takedown defense is really, really good, so I think he's going to use that to keep the fight on the feet, and Ricky Camp is probably going to knock him out. That is my prediction. 52% do say knockout, the other 40% do say decision. I'm leaning towards knockout just because of his left hook to right hand, but I kind of think he's going to land that right hand, stumble him a little bit, land a double leg takedown, and then ground pound him. So my prediction is going to be he's going to stumble him and then finish him off with ground pound strikes. But don't get me wrong, Greg Fisher definitely has a good chance of getting a submission, really good rear nakeds and really good guillotines, but the wrestling, the striking, the kickboxing, the overhand right, the right hand right down the middle, everything in this fight, Ricky Camp is the better fighter. So my prediction is going to be a second round ground pound TKO from Ricky Camp after a nice right hand right down the pipe. Easy prediction right there in the bantamweight division. Ricky Camp by ground pound TKO right there. After that fight, we go into the main event for the LFA vacant heavyweight belt. I'm not too sure who was the previous LFA light heavyweight champion. I assume they probably went to Bellator or the UFC or something like that. But this fight's going to be a really, really good fight. Vernon Lewis and Thomas Peterson in the main event of LFA 113 for the LFA vacant light heavyweight belt. It's very obvious exactly what Vernon Lewis and Thomas Peterson are going to want to do. I mean, come on. Thomas Peterson wants to go out there, takedown over and over and over again, and just grab pound for that TKO. Vernon Lewis wants to go out there, keep the fight on the feet, and just go all out and try to knock you out on the feet. He's very, very explosive with flying knees, head kicks, crazy stuff that Vernon Lewis does in his fights, especially for being in the heavyweight division and being 37 and a half years old. But he is going to have a 2-inch height advantage and an incredible 6.5-inch reach advantage right there. So on the feet, Vernon Lewis has a very, very big advantage. Of course, it is a heavyweight division. Thomas Peterson could close the distance and land a big right hand like he did in 19 seconds on Kimo Lewis in his second to last fight right there. But this fight is very, very simple, exactly where both fighters want to be. 89% saying knockout and then 63% saying knockout right there. It's definitely going to be a knockout. Either way, whoever wins this one is going to be a knockout. It is a 5-round heavyweight fight, and Thomas Peterson, every single win is a first-round knockout. It's going to be a knockout. It's very, very obvious. So we're going to see a ground and pound TKO or a knockout from Vernon Lewis right here. It's a very, very good fight in the main event. But my prediction is going to slightly lean towards Thomas Peterson. It is the heavyweight division. Any one punch could land, and it could end the whole entire fight. Vernon Lewis has the height advantage, has the reach advantage, so it's going to force Thomas Peterson to close the distance to land his takedown, and when that does happen, we know Vernon Lewis has really good knees right down the middle and really good head kicks and stuff like that, so maybe as Thomas Peterson is coming in, he can hit him with a knee and knock him out. Definitely a possibility, and he can definitely use that reach and just explode with the right hand and knock him out as well. There's a lot of different possibilities for Vernon Lewis to win the fight on the feet, but I think eventually the takedown and the wrestling of Thomas Peterson will catch up to him, and eventually Peterson will get the fight down and probably ground upon TKO him like he does usually. This time, I think it'll go one round later into the second round. So my prediction for Vernon Lewis and Thomas Peterson is going to be a Thomas Peterson second round ground upon TKO right there. Should be a really, really good fight. In the LFA vacant heavyweight division right here, Thomas Peterson is probably going to win the fight and then maybe defend his belt one more time, or maybe go on a Dana White Contender Series, or be a short notice replacement. We've seen a lot of guys fight for an LFA vacant belt, and right after that go on a fight inside the UFC on short notice or on Dana White Contender Series or something like that. I can definitely see Thomas Peterson being one of those guys right there, but that is my prediction. Thomas Peterson by second round ground upon TKO. If you guys missed all of my predictions, we will be posting them later onto the channel. But I have Thomas Peterson winning his fight by ground upon TKO, Ricky Campbell winning his fight by knockout, landing a big right hand, and finishing him off with ground upon strikes in the first or second round. I have Haley Cowan winning her fight by first round rear naked choke submission, or by a ground upon TKO. I got Chris Brown winning his fight by a decision right there. And then I have Alden Correa winning his fight right there. Really, really good fight card. 5 fights on the main card. I believe the fight of the night will be Chris Brown and Steve Jones. Also, really, really good fight, Ricky Camp and Greg Fisher. And of course, an amazing, amazing fight is Vernon Lewis and Thomas Peterson. Very, very good fight card in my opinion. But that is my full card prediction. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. But yeah, that's been a pretty good video, and we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.